If you have ever tried to explain your pain to a doctor and you walked away feeling like you didn't quite explain it properly, or you undersold it, or you said it's fine when it absolutely was not, this one's for you. Because here's what nobody clearly explains. There's not just one type of pain. There are actually 3 clinically recognized categories of pain. And after a concussion or a brain injury or an illness or accident, you might be dealing with one or all of them. And when you don't know which type of pain you're dealing with, it is hard to describe it. And when you can't describe it, it is hard for your healthcare team to treat it. Today, we are breaking down the terms you need to understand pain. I'm coming at it from a concussion recovery standpoint, and we're going to start at the very beginning. My name's Larissa, and this is the Concussion Crew, where we make healing a little less confusing and a lot more human. This is part of my medical terminology series. If you have been following along, welcome back. And if you haven't seen a single episode, that's okay. You don't need to have watched any of them to follow along today, but I will link them above in case you want to check them out. And the usual disclaimer, I am sharing this from my recovery experience and my own personal research, but I am not a medical professional. This is a vocabulary lesson, not a diagnosis tool, and nothing here replaces the guidance of your healthcare team. Deal? Deal. Let's jump in. One of the most disorienting things about life after a concussion is that the pain often doesn't match what people see. Your scans come back normal, your blood work looks fine, and yet you hurt constantly or unpredictably or in ways that are really difficult to put into words. And if you've ever felt like you had to justify that pain or prove it or downplay it so that you don't get labeled as dramatic, I would like for you to hear this very clearly. Pain that does not show up on imaging is still real pain. It has clinical names. It has documented mechanisms. And understanding those mechanisms can completely change the conversation that you're able to have with your doctor or other healthcare providers. And that's what today is about. Let's start with the most foundational distinction in pain: acute versus chronic. Acute pain is pain that is recent and time limited. It's your body's alarm system. Dude, something happened. Here's your signal. Pay attention, friend. That's what your body's telling you. After an injury, some level of acute pain is expected. It is protective. It makes sense. Chronic pain is pain that extends beyond the expected window. Typically, it's around the 3-month mark where they say, hey, this is chronic pain. And this is where a lot of people in this community get lost because we are hurting months or even years after our injury. And nobody prepared us for this possibility. So here's the important thing to understand. Chronic pain is not just acute pain that went on too long. It often involves real changes in how the nervous system processes pain signals. It is not a personal failure. It is not weakness. It's a clinical reality. If your condition has crossed that 3-month mark and your care team hasn't started using the term chronic, that might be a conversation to start with them. The first of the 3 recognized pain types is nociceptive pain. And this is what most people picture when they think of pain. It comes from actual tissue damage or inflammation, a cut, a bruise, a sprained ankle. Your body detects a real physical injury and sends a pain signal in response. After a concussion, nociceptive pain might show up as muscle tenderness, soft tissue injury from the impact, or even headaches driven by neck and shoulder tension. This is the most straightforward type of pain to identify and often the most straightforward to treat because there's a clear physical source. Physiotherapy, rest, targeted treatment can address the underlying damage. The challenge is that nociceptive pain rarely travels alone after a concussion, which brings us on to the second type of pain, neuropathic pain. And this comes from damage or dysfunction to the nervous system itself, not from the tissues around it. It often feels different from regular pain. People describe it as burning or shooting or stabbing or like pins and needles. It can travel down your arm, across your scalp, into your face. It can be triggered by things that shouldn't trigger pain at all. After concussion, neuropathic pain can develop when nerves are compressed or irritated or disrupted by your injury. And because it behaves so differently from what people expect pain to behave like, it often gets dismissed or misunderstood, both by the people experiencing it and the people treating it. If your pain has that electric or traveling or burning quality to it, neuropathic is probably the word that you're looking for. Bring it to your doctor. It responds to very specific treatments, and naming it correctly opens those doors. Nociplastic is the newest of the 3 pain categories, and for this community, it might just be the most important. Nociplastic pain is pain that arises without any clear evidence of tissue damage or nerve injury. Your scans look normal, your blood work is fine, there's no obvious structural explanation, and yet the pain is absolutely real. What's happening is that the nervous system itself has shifted. It's processing and amplifying pain signals differently, even when there's no longer an active injury driving them. I want to say this as clearly as I can, and I would like for you to listen as carefully as you can. Nociplastic pain is not imaginary. It is real. It is not anxiety. It is not you being dramatic. It is a clinically recognized pain category. It has documented neurological mechanisms, and it is common in people with persistent post-concussion symptoms. If you've ever been told everything looks normal and felt like that meant that your pain wasn't real, this term is for you. Write it down, bring it to your next appointment, because you deserve to have language for what you are experiencing. So, to bring it all together, acute pain is recent and expected. Chronic pain has persisted beyond the expected healing window. Nociceptive pain comes from actual tissue damage, the most typical type. Neuropathic pain comes from the nervous system, often electric or shooting, that type of pain. And nociplastic pain happens when your nervous system amplifies pain without a clear structural source, which is why your scans can look completely normal and you are still in significant pain. You might be dealing with one of these. You might be dealing with all 3 of these. And knowing the difference gives you something concrete to bring your care team and helps you to understand and have a conversation that makes sense to you. If you've already watched my episode on pain that's hard to explain, you'll know that understanding what type of pain you have is only part of the picture. Being able to describe it, to track it, to communicate it effectively to your care team is a whole other skill set. That episode gets into pain scales, into allodonia, and the tools that I use personally to make my appointments more productive. I'll link it at the end in case you missed it. Thank you so much for being here. If this episode was helpful, if it helped you to name something that has been difficult to pin down up until now, that's why we make these episodes. I hope that you'll save it for when you need it, share it with a friend who's going through something similar. I appreciate all the comments that people have been sharing. I have gotten your requests. I have some new series coming up, so stay tuned for those. Make sure you follow so that you get notified about the latest updates. And please remember that you are not alone trying to find the words for why you hurt.